Being a homeowner is stressful with maintaining everything around the home, but your garage door can be simple, and on today's episode, we're going to tell you how. Welcome to the Garage Authority Podcast, powered by A1. I'm your host, Jonithan Phillips, and today, I have probably one of my favorite people in all of the garage door industry. Being a trainer at the state-of-the-art garage door training center in the world, I get very excited when I get to learn from people, and this is one of the few techs that I can go out with that can install faster than me, knows a little bit more, and teaches me something every time I go on a ride along. And today we're here to talk about maintenance, the one and only, the great and powerful Brandon Colby. What's up, my guy?
Enjoying life.
Enjoying life?
Yeah.
Yeah, tech meeting this morning, good. Lots of good vibes, and then Dylan, of course, crushing it once again with the send-off.
Gotta have that.
Yeah.
Makes it so much more fun.
That's bananas.
Oh, yeah.
Everything.
Break out those tape measures.
But the reason that I wanted to bring you on today is because you've traveled the country. Mm-hmm. You've got to see multiple different, all the way from the East Coast all the way out here to Phoenix, and you are a true bred service guy, can fix any door I've ever seen. So I wanted to talk to you about maintenance because I think that's the only thing that's keeping us at work and having a job. And I think if there's one thing that we can give homeowners the power to where they can maybe not have to spend as much money, I'd go to the best guy that I have in the company to talk about maintenance and what they could do.
A lot of maintenance, a lot of preventative maintenance, so you're not stuck in your garage. And you never want that moment in time where you're trying to leave, you're going to an airport, going to a kid's game or something like that, and you're trapped.
Yeah.
So there's plenty of things to do maintenance-wise. There's multiple different factors to it. You need to have really a professional come out and do this. Mm-hmm. But if you want to do some of your own home stuff, I would definitely have the door disconnected when the door's down. Check your balance. Check if it's free-flowing. If it's starting to be heavy, you need to call a professional out.
Yeah. Dude, I think that's probably the biggest thing is if someone does like zero maintenance for their garage for 10 years and then they act shocked, like maybe it was a broken spring that we come out to. And then they kind of get a little bit mad wherever I'm like, okay, it's been 10 years. You have your wife and or spouse, whoever, 3 kids. You use it to go to work. She or he uses it to go to work. Your kids use it to go to school. You use it like the front door. And then they're upset that I found cables are jacked, torsion tubes, drums, bearings. So after 10 years, what would you say are like the biggest parts that are probably going to fail on the biggest moving object in your home?
Everything. At that point. Everything.
Everything.
I'm like, because everything's built off of a cycle life. So if you have one component that already failed and it was designed for that amount of cycles, all the other components are going to have the same wear and tear.
Yeah.
So it's not like they're broken all the way yet, but they're failed on that. So it's just a matter of time when the next thing keeps on going down. So if you were preventing it and actually having maintenance in the first place, you're going to prevent a lot of different things. If the springs were tensioned the right way, you're not putting a lot of extra drag on the rollers and then putting drag on the operator as well.
Yeah, and that's probably that. I can pick any part of a garage door from a bottom bracket to the thimble to even bottom retainers that are just for seal on the bottom rubber. And then I can see, and I understand that, and people don't understand, is that domino effects. All those parts need to work together in unison. How many times have you seen like the smallest little thing that a client calls out for, and then you go out there and you're like, we got way bigger problems than this.
All the time, because we all take for granted certain things. We're just pressing the button. We're using it as our front door. And if we don't hear a noise, it's not concerning to us. Or if we're hearing something minimal, but it's only gradually happening, you start tuning that out.
Right.
So then when there's a catastrophic failure, there's been a lot of components that have been failing for quite some time.
Yeah, and then why do you think, because I get really confused, because you're a car guy. The Ford Raptor, I absolutely love it. It's very fun.
Fun toy.
It's a fun toy, Can-Ams. But you've always worked on cars. Everybody knows that cars need maintenance. Everybody. But they choose not to maintenance the biggest moving thing in their house that goes above their head.
And their car.
And their car, which seems very ironic to me. Why do you think that mindset is with clients?
It was never taught. We're taught to every three months, 3,000 miles, you do an oil change, or a certain amount of time you do a tire rotation. We were taught that as a kid. We were never taught about the maintenance on your home. That's why people don't know how to do their ACs, all sorts of different components to their home they never think about. They just use it until it breaks, until they have a service person come out and explain, these are what you're supposed to do or look for in your maintenance. And nobody's going to read the stickers that are inside of the door and all the warning labels. It says you're supposed to check it once a month. Yes, a little overkill, but yes, technically, to do it properly, once a month. But once a year, look over it.
I personally don't think it's too much overkill when you have something that's 400 pounds that moves above your head. But
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll get somebody in those comments right there that's going to be like, I haven't serviced my garage door in 30 years. No problem. Congratulations. You have all the luck in the world. God bless you. Now, what's probably the most preventable service call you've ever seen to where you're like, if you would have called a year earlier, we could have saved you thousands of dollars.
I would say when they start having the chain drag on the top of the door.
Ooh.
Because they're just running it thinking that it just needs to be tightened one day, but it's causing all sorts of damage. Their gear and sprocket's a minute away from snapping off.
Right.
So, and then whenever their hinges are starting to crack, putting all that extra tension, and then all of a sudden a roller's out. It's just like, there's all sorts of different things. There's thousands of different little parts on there that break, but you don't never know which one's going to break first.
Right.
On there. It's lucky when the door's down so they don't have it fall on them.
Right.
But I've seen plenty of doors where it's the magic carpet sitting outside, where the inside of the door is facing the road, on top of a car, completely sideways. You see so many things when you go to 4 or 5 jobs a day.
Right. And with all those jobs, like, how many calls do you go to where you're trying to get a history from a client on maintenance? How many doors have you run across that are actually properly maintained that aren't on a membership program?
Under 5%.
Under 5%.
Yeah.
And that's why we do podcasts.
They
like
had
this.
no idea that there was even supposed to be maintenance done.
Yeah.
They are like, oh, well, I thought maybe you just spray some lube on it or some WD-40. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, the WD-40. Please, no WD-40. There is one from the company that's specifically for garage doors that they still call WD-40, but actual WD-40, please, it's a water displacement. It's going to get a lot of sand, a lot of grime on everything that you spray, and it's just going to wear those parts down.
Or
further.
the grease.
Or the
grease. The grease, just packing it in there.
Yeah.
Just, oh, my.
My favorite is originally from like Kansas City, Missouri area, and you see people that do that grease, and then they're like, why is my door running rough? Well, it can get negative there. And then all of a sudden, they don't pick quite the right grease, like temperature-wise, so they put it on in the summer, fantastic, and now the door, it's like the door's running on gravel when that stuff starts to
like an
harden
off-road course
on it. And then all of a sudden, it's a hung door, the roller popped out, and now it's on top of the Beamer, and they're upset with me, and I'm just like, I'm so sorry. You don't have to do that. The rollers, you spray those, but the tracks, you don't have to touch those, just the bearings that actually move inside of it. Now, more for the clients, because if they're listening, they're going to want to have a garage door company out there. Like, what's the difference in between, like, regular maintenance with a garage door company compared to what you see A1 does?
Maintenance from a lot of other companies, just spraying stuff down, not really testing the proper weight and balance of the garage door.
Not testing.
Just looking it over, seeing if it's broken or not, and just kicking the can down the road. Instead of educating and actually showing the weight of the door on the ground, showing the 3-point balance test, showing the safety reverse settings on the motor. Everything was cranked up at certain levels because that's what I've seen. They're like, oh, it won't work. Let me just crank up the force settings.
Yeah, so it'll push or pull through whatever.
Yeah. And it's starting to see tears and avoid or adding different weights and struts to the doors and not putting the proper springs on.
Yeah, I think that's probably one of the biggest things that I see, because people get mad at me because we do something called a structural integrity package, which you know. And, they see these cracks in the panels, and then these other companies come out and went, we'll just strut it up. We'll just brace it. Well, if you have a double wide car garage, 16, 18, 21 feet, like that gets like per strut, and they put 4, 5, 6 of them on there, it could be 15 pounds or up to 20 pounds per strut. So you get 4 of those on there, and you're like, you just added 100 pounds. And now the springs that you have up there, they don't lift the door. And guess what's going to happen? That chain that we warned them about earlier, that starts to sag. And look at that. The domino effect has happened. And now you have to buy an entire new door when you could have just fixed it right the first time, and probably a little bit of maintenance.
That's the biggest thing. Adding the wrong parts on and not following up with the other like doing the struts and not doing the springs.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, well, it could work. Let me just adjust it. Now you just had that whole calculation of what it was designed for and messed it all up. Just like with a certain car, you're not going to just put pads on when the rotors are bad.
Yeah.
But if you do, you're going to cause more damage and cost yourself more money down the road.
Yes. Now, when or how often should people do maintenance on their door a year from a professional, in your opinion?
I'd say once a year, minimally.
Minimally.
I'm like, depending on what part of the country you're at, between the extreme heat and the extreme cold, maybe before winter and then after winter, because now you've had a bunch of different snow come in, stuff could be rusting, and you really need to inspect those items to make sure there's no failure points, especially on bottom brackets.
Dude. So, we've gone over a little bit of maintenance that they can do, really brought it home on why you should bring on a professional, definitely the domino effect, how often they should do it. Everything that we've talked about, do you think there's any last message for the audience encompassing that you'd like to say?
Schedule an appointment today. Have us come out and take a look at everything and then educate you on your system so you could actually have the right knowledge.
Yeah, we can have a technician come out and show you what to do, so maybe you don't have to call as often, but we'll always be there if you need us.
Education for your safety.
That's it. Brother,
Yep.
Thank you so much for coming on. Always a pleasure.
Always fun.